Good day, Internet people. People have been asking me for ages, Phil, you run Dual Knights, right? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, you've been running Dual Knights since they came out, right? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, so why haven't you done a deck profile recently, what with like having like amazing new cards? And I'm like, oh yeah, I should do that. So guess what? Here's a deck profile. And yeah, I'm going to go straight into it. This is my current Dual Knight build. And without further ado, obviously, my starter is Desire Dual Knight Heloise. She's pretty good. She's basically an 8k booster when you've got 3 or more Dual Knight rear guards. I basically sit her behind Ashley, because if you're on regular Ashley or on Cross Ride Reverse, that is basically a 21k column dead set, as long as that sticks around. So you can't say no to 21k columns. I run 4 draw triggers. Helps if that's on camera. But right, yeah. So 4 draws. Not much to say. Draw power's kind of important. And then I run 4 of this recent card. This is straight Dual Knight's Bartram. Basically, if he's on the field at the end of a turn and you've got 3 or more other Dual Knight rearguards, you can draw a card and then return this guy to the deck and shuffle the deck. So this guy is amazing for the other cards in your deck that say if you've got 3 or more other Dual Knights, you can use the skill. So even if you've only got like a crit in your hand, when it's this guy, you can play it down, fill out the requirement of the number of Dual Knights you need on the field. At the end of the turn, you draw a card, he goes back, and all's good in the world. He basically lets you get your skills off earlier, and with less hassle. So that's why I run that. And then 4 regular crit as well. This is the Raquel, or Rachel, however you want to pronounce it. I like Raquel. And obviously, obvious choice is obvious. 4 heal triggers. I went for the cat because I like cats. Okay, so into the grade 1 lineup. And immediately, we're starting with a new card. This is one from the Fighters Collection. Calling Dual Knight Christine. She's got an amazing little skill, right? So basically, when she's placed, if you have 3 or more other Dual Knight rearguards, so you might have to play down that crit just to get this skill to work. But if you've got 3 or more other Dual Knight rearguards, you can reveal a grade 3 from your hand, and then call a grade 3 to the field. And then at the end of the turn, that grade 3 bounces back to your hand, and you just choose any card from your hand and discard it. Why is that good? Basically, it lets you create an 18k column with no effort at all. If you play her down, Counterblast 1, reveal a grade 3, call a grade 3 there, 18k column, really early. You don't even have to be on grade 3 on your Vanguard. You can be on grade 2, whatever you want. So it's really nice to just get a big column really early on. And the advantage is as well, because I'm running the Ashley deck with both Ashleys, this way, if you've only got a reverse in your hand, you play this down early before you ride the reverse, and it lets you search your deck for the regular Ashley, bounce it back to the hand, ready for riding next turn. Alternatively, it can get you into some stride fodder. It's just a great way to search out a grade 3 for your hand and get a nice attack out of it at the same time. Really, really good card. Next up, I run 2 of these. This is in case, for whatever reason, I don't get my regular Ashley out first. If I ride into reverse straight away, this is the guy I want to call with the Sword Me or something, just so I can use her limit break really early on. Often I do ride into grade 3 and I'm using the limit break on the very turn that I ride into the grade 3, which is great because you're retiring the opponent's units early on, you're summoning stuff, you're hitting numbers. It's really good fun. Likewise, to get some numbers, is this guy. Basically, when he's called, you don't have to counterblast. You just tap him when he's placed if you've got 3 or more of the Dual Knight rearguards, and give a unit plus 10. So let's say you were on Ashley Reverse and you wanted to use her summoning skill. You've got the limit breaker down already. You could kind of call this guy down, tap him, give Ashley Reverse plus 10, then lock him for Ashley Reverse's skill with the counterblast, and then get the other skills off. And you've basically gained 10k even though you've locked a unit. So it's a really nice tech choice for that. Another way to throw power around in grade 1. Most of my grade 1s do this gaining power malarkey. This is 2 of Alwayne. She basically lets you recycle an Ashley from the drop zone to the bottom of the deck. For each Ashley that you do, you can give one of your Ashleys on the field plus 5k. With the proviso being, it has to be a grade 3, it can't be a stride. So if you're on stride, even if you've got an Ashley Heart, that skill, you can't give the power to the stride unit, you'd have to give it to an Ashley on the rear guard. Because it doesn't say grade 3 or greater, it just says choose one of your grade 3 units. So that's a little thing to be aware of. Someone pointed that out on a comment recently. Thank you very much, whoever that was, because I didn't read that little detail. And finally, for the grade 1 lineup, I actually run 4 of the non-Dual Knight. This is the G Perfect Guard, mainly because this deck can be a little bit counterblast heavy. This is the only non-Dual Knight I've run, so obviously when something says you need a Dual Knight counterblast, you don't really want this in the damage zone, but because it is the only card in the deck that doesn't have Dual Knight in the name, I'm happy to take that risk, and the unflipping is really, really useful. Next up is the Dual Knight OP Sword Me. He's amazing. He's just, when he's placed, counterblast a Dual Knight, search your deck for a grade 1 or less Dual Knight. So you might be searching out the crit trigger if you want to just get a draw and a quick booster for a turn. You can search out Alwyn if you want to recycle some Ashleys. You can search out Kimberline, I think, if you want to get the plus 10. You can call out whatever. You can call Christine and then search your deck for the grade 3. For a Counterblaster 2, you've gained a grade 1 and a grade 3 for the field. It's absolutely nuts. So Sword Me basically is the lifeblood of the deck, who was also recently added to the restricted list in that you can't run Sword Me in a deck that doesn't have Dual Knight grade 3s. As in, if you run 6 Dual Knight grade 3s and 2 non-Dual Knight grade 3s, you can't run Sword Me because there's a non-Dual Knight grade 3. That's basically how that works. So it's kind of good because it stops you having these kind of really crazy Dual Knight thing saver decks. It makes it so people are more inclined to run these nice pure Dual Knight decks. And I really encourage people to do that because it's a lot of fun to run the pure Dual Knight deck. So yeah, anyway, that's me going on a tangent there. I run 3 Miranda. It was basically her or the 12k attacker, but I chose this one because generally I've got an Ashley Vanguard. If I'm on grade 3, then the Vanguard is an Ashley. So this is a 12k attacker in that circumstance, regardless of how many rear guards you've got. And she's got the other skill. If she hits a Vanguard while you've got an Ashley Vanguard, you can give another unit plus 3,000. So that can knock any attack just into that little bit more, you know, a little bit more pain, a little bit more to guard. So people will want to guard against her. And then finishing off the grade 2 lineup, I run 4 of this one from the Vanguard and Deleter set. This is Alt Gallo. He's amazing. He's basically like a Sword Me Light, but on a hit. So you Soul Blast 1 when he hits a Vanguard to Superior Call a grade 1 or less Dual Knight. I think it's or less. Yes, it is. Again, the only proviso being that you have to have 3 or more other Dual Knight rear guards. But again, it can be fantastic if you've swung with the Vanguard. Say you've got a full field. You swing with the Vanguard, then you swing with this guy boosted. If it hits, great. You can basically Superior Call the grade 1 that you tap for 10k. Call it straight behind this guy because he's already used his booster anyway, and then give the unit that hasn't attacked plus 10. So you can have a 16k column turning into a 26k column in the middle of a turn, and your opponent could be like, "Oh, I didn't see that coming." Which is quite fun, because they think, oh, it's only a grade 1, what's it going to do if a grade 1 Superior called, right? Like a 10k hitter? Great. But nope, you can make a column quite nasty. Right, grade 3 lineup. This is going to be really obvious. Ashley times 4, and Ashley reverse times 4. You know what these do. Ashley's a break ride. Basically, when you ride her, you get plus 10 and a crit on limit break 4. So if you've got Saber Me on the field, you've been guarding for damage, so you haven't got 4 damage, but you've got the limit break enabler on the field. Great, you've got yourself a 31k and a crit column if you've got this starter behind when you stride in break ride into her. So you almost don't need to stride a lot of the time with this deck. I'd actually often choose not to stride just to get the cross ride off, so I can have the 13k base power on the defense, because you won't believe how good that 13k defense is. If you've got like an Aquaforce player and he's swinging like 12, 12, 12, 12, as Aquaforce is wont to do, then sitting on 13, can really put a crimp on their plans. So that's great. Oftentimes I will find myself sitting on an Ashley there, and then I'll cross ride, and then I'll go ditch for stride. So I'll lose the benefit of the break ride, but the cross ride makes it all worth it. Plus, that Ashley you ditched, you can get back into the deck quite easily by using Alwyn's skill. So you're not really losing an Ashley in that regard. Again, you can actually summon it back to the hand pretty easily if you want to, using the Christine card. So that's Ashley, and obviously her own skill. Her limit break is you counterblast one, lock one of your units, retire one of your opponent's units, and then superior call any Jewel Knight to the field. Which is amazing for counterblast one and a lock. That is a really good skill. You can pop a Silent Tom off, you know, whatever your opponent's got that was one of their front row trump cards, you can just be like, nope, that's not there anymore. And you can summon yourself a Sword Me, counterblast one for the Sword Me, get yourself another unit down. It's so good. So good. Right, on to the strides, because we're taking long enough. I'll save the best till last. So, I want one Iga Blade. This guy is basically an emergency card. If I've somehow just been pulling grade 0s, grade 0s, grade 0s all game on all my damage checks and my draw phases or whatever, and I've got nothing in hand I can play, this guy is the guy who helps me fix the field. Because again, if he hits, you call a Sword Me, you counterblast one for the Sword Me, you call another unit, and all of a sudden you've sort of got a field starting to appear again, which is really nice for just fixing the game. Pop him over there. Then we've got one, Samuel. I don't use this guy very often because generally my opponents don't sit at 4 damage or less for very long against this deck. But if you've got a full field, when he attacks, you can counterblast 2. As long as you've got a full field and your opponent's on 4 or less damage, then they just take a damage before you even do like your drive checks, which is really nice. But again, it's a little bit specific for this deck, so I don't really rely on him very often. It's mainly like if I run out of the Evangelines, as you'll see in a minute. And then I've got 2 of Saint Blow Dragon. He's my kind of GB2 big hitter. I often use this guy to push for game. If I'm aware that my opponent doesn't have a perfect guard in hand and they're on 4 or 5 damage, this is the guy you want to stride into. Because you can, if you've got a full field and you've got the 8k vanilla, not vanilla, but you know, the 8k booster behind, you're basically swinging for like 49,000 and a crit when you use his skill, which is absolutely nuts if you know they haven't got a perf. And if they have got a perf, they're guaranteed to use it against that, and you can give all the effects to your other columns from the triggers. So, really nice pressure card. Really cool. And lastly, we're going to get onto the Fighters Collection big boss card. Desire Jewel Knight, or Climax Jewel Knight Lord, Evangeline. I don't know why I said Desire. Anyway, yeah, she is just absolutely nuts. Basically, she's a thing where, I'm going to read this out because it's hard to eloquently put without reading it. So activated once per turn, choose a card from your face cap down card from your G zone, turn it face up. If you have a heart card with Jewel Knight in its card name, and if you have 3 or more rear guards with Jewel Knight in its card name, all your units with Jewel Knight in its card name get plus 3k for each face up card named Climax Jewel Knight Lord Evangeline in your G zone until the end of turn. So basically what that means is you can use this as the first stride. You can very easily in this deck fill your field by the time you've got a first stride. You can have 6 units sitting down there, no problem at all. So you can do that, and then you stride into her first turn. You're like, okay, I'm going to flip this. Everything on the field gets plus 3, so you got plus 3. And you're like, great, cool. Next turn comes along, you got 2 of those face up over there. You're like, okay, I'm going to final turn it now because it's my second stride of the game. Evangeline, flip, plus 9, plus 9, plus 9, plus 9, plus 9, plus 9. Amazing. And then you can have like Ashley's up there, you can be using Alwyn's skill, you can play down the Kimberline or whatever his name is to get the plus 10s. You can throw numbers around like an absolute mofo with this deck, and I love it. This is absolutely my favourite Jewel Knight build since I've been playing the things, and I was there for the Salome days. Actually, to be honest though, Salome can still be pretty funny in the modern format to rush against someone who's holding you off limit break. You just counterblast 2, call the limit break remover, and you're like, yeah, now she's swinging for like 18 and a crit or something with a booster or whatever. So it's pretty funny. But yeah, anyway, that's this deck. So as you can see, it's mainly Ashley and Evangeline. They're the boss cards. But every single card in this deck is designed around filling the field, gaining power. That's all it is. So obviously the weakness of this deck, Link Joker, Narukami, Kagero to an extent, those are the ones to be aware of. If you're not against those decks, generally you're going to have a good time. So even against those decks, to be honest, as long as you're careful, only call when you know you can push for game or where you can push for damage, then you'll be okay. But you have to be keeping things in hand in order to refill the field if that starts to empty. So yeah, that's it. That's my Dual Knight deck. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed my little tips and tricks for how to play this deck. If you'd like to know any more about this deck, just ask me questions down below. If you have any comments or suggestions, post them down below as well. Personally, I'm really happy with how this deck plays. I don't lose many games at all with it anymore. I have kind of topped quite a few events locally with this deck, which is really cool. And yeah, thanks for watching. See you again soon. Bye, Internet people.